Hello and welcome to My Good Content with your host, Byron LaBare. Today, I'm honored to have back Emily Mackay. Emily is having an amazing season here in 2024. In March, she ran to a bronze medal in the Indoor World Championships in the 1500 meters. Soon after, she went out to Eugene, Oregon, where she broke 4 minutes in the 1500 for the first time in her career in a time of 3:59.76. A couple weeks later, she ran the Adrian Martinez Invitational. There, she broke the 2-minute barrier in the 800 meters for the first time in her career in a time of 1:57.87. And most recently, in the Olympic trials, the fastest women's field in American history, Emily punched her ticket to Paris. And in doing so, she ran the third fastest time for an American woman in the 1500 meters in 3 minutes 55.9. So without saying any more, let's bring Emily Mackay and talk about what led up to the Olympic trials and how she's feeling going into the Olympics. First of all, congratulations on qualifying for the Olympics. Thank you for coming on again. It's only been, 3 weeks, and here you are now an Olympian.
It's been a lot of mental preparation because the physical work is all done. They say the hay's in the barn, the work's done, and now it's just about feeling good mentally and physically. So the 3 weeks heading in, I did a couple quality sessions just to make sure that I felt the pop in my legs and everything. I wasn't feeling flat. But 1 week before, I started to decrease the volume a little bit, and that helped a lot, honestly. I think that I was training at my max capacity leading into that, and my body was definitely starting to feel it. But as soon as I started to decrease the volume, my body felt so much better, which was very encouraging. And a lot of mental work. Every day I allowed myself to visualize all the different scenarios, all the different things that I could see happening. Tried to have most of those visualizations be visualizing making the team. I definitely believed in myself, and I thought that it was a very real possibility that I could make the team. But I knew the caliber of athletes that I was going up against was it was the strongest 1500 meter field ever at the trials. So I definitely was not naive to that going in. I have a lot of respect for my competition. I knew it was going to be really, really hard, and I knew that on the day, and it was going to have to be a near perfect performance from myself in order to make the team. So yeah, just mentally preparing for whatever the outcome may be.
Before jumping into some of the prelim rounds in the race itself, I know it's something that holds a special place in your heart, Cayuga Lake, which we talked about last month. If you can share with us how special it was to celebrate the 4th of July with your family, and then that cherry on top of qualifying for the Olympic team to be there in Cayuga Lake the week after Olympic trials.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, it was amazing. Yeah, it was super exciting because the last couple years I haven't been able to make it to Cayuga Lake for the 4th of July because usually the U.S. Championship meet is either right after the 4th of July or during the 4th of July weekend. The past couple years I missed out, and it's just one of the many sacrifices that I have to make in the sport. Really lucky that the schedule lined up that the 4th of July was actually after the trials, and yeah, just to get to go to my favorite place with lots of my favorite people right after having just accomplished a huge dream of mine. It was honestly amazing. That's all I wanted to do afterwards was to celebrate and to see all of my people. And I really got to do that. I got to see a lot of my dad's side of the family on the West Coast immediately after. I had a lot of people that were out in Oregon cheering for me, and then flew home, and just a few days later I was at Cayuga Lake with a lot of my mom's side of the family. I had a lot of friends also come to Cayuga Lake to celebrate with me, and it was awesome. It was so much fun.
And what was it like, because I've run up in that area myself, what was it like going for runs? It's a small town, so I can't imagine what it might have been like going for a recovery run or a workout on those old roads up there around the lake.
It felt like such a celebration. Every time I went out for a run, my grandparents posted on the Cayuga Lake Facebook page that I had qualified for the Olympics, and they also put up this huge sign outside the cottage. So I'd be sitting up on the front porch, and people walking down the lake road would I could see them looking up at the sign, and my grandma said she overheard someone was I wonder how fast she ran. Everyone was just super interested and wanted to know so much about it, and I had so many people congratulating me that they would see me out for my runs up and down the East Lake Road. It just felt like such a huge celebration, and I had so much support and love from the community there. It was super heartwarming, and they had a little celebration for me at Camp Airy, which is right down the road from my grandparents' cottage. They had me come and sign autographs and take pictures with everyone, and yeah, super nice to feel all the love and support.
I can only imagine. I love the Finger Lakes. What a great place to celebrate, especially with family. But I want to jump back for the bronze medal at the World Championships. That was such a big leap and jump for you with that kick that you had the last 400. Were there any common behaviors and like discipline that you took from before that were successful that you used leading into the Olympic trials?
Not necessarily. I feel like I had mostly been doing all of the same things that I have been doing the past couple of years, and I think that everything just started to come together at the right time. The training was starting to click, and I was stronger than ever before. So the past couple of years, I've been very consistent in my training, and I just keep getting stronger and stronger. Yeah, I just super lucky, given that it was an Olympic year, and that was my goal. Like, that's what I've been working so hard for this past couple of years, is to catch up and to make that jump in fitness that I knew that I needed to make in time to make it a realistic goal to qualify for this Olympics. So yeah, just super thankful that all the training started to come together at the right time.
That's great. That's great. So in the lead up to Olympic trials, was it hard to come down off the taper? I know sometimes in training and you're up in the mile, was it hard for you at all to taper and settle yourself back leading into the Olympics? And then if so, what strategies were implemented during that time frame?
That's a really good question. This year was different. I welcomed the taper because I was feeling a little bit like overuse. My hip was bothering me for a few weeks before I started to taper, and I had these little things start popping up, kind of indicating that I was definitely training like at my maximum capacity. I was looking forward to that taper because I knew that as soon as I started to decrease the volume, I had a really good feeling that my body was going to start to feel a lot better, and it did. So yeah, I think that it was much needed, whereas last year I might not have been training at my full capacity, or I don't know. When I started to taper last year, I just got sick. I was sick for the U.S. champs last year. I don't know. Maybe that was just bad timing. Maybe it was just unlucky. I don't know. But if you start your taper too soon and you let your body relax too much, you can go into a championship feeling pretty flat. So I don't know. I think I just hit it right this year. I feel super thankful.
I mean, when you look at 3 rounds in 4 days, and I correct me if I'm wrong, but you've never had like 3 rounds in 4 days.
No.
In that situation. So you go in and you run a 406.47 in the first round, I believe, and then a 402.46, and then, then the 355.9. What was your mindset going into the first round?
Yeah, I mean, it was nerve-wracking for sure, just doing 3 rounds for the first time, but at the same time, I knew that I was the most fit I've ever been and the most aerobically strong. I felt like I was in good shape to run a good 5K, which I think is really important, just having that extra strength, because then you can recover really well off of the rounds. I was almost welcoming that extra round because I felt like it would be a nice segue into the semifinal and then the final as well. So yeah, I was just trying to welcome the rounds and think of it as a positive thing and something that was going to help me mentally. I tried to have a lot of fun. I knew that if I let myself too super nervous or stressed out too early, then I might burn out by the time I get to the final, like mentally. So I just try to focus on enjoying racing and remembering that it's something that I love to do, and just show up to the starting line very confident and just try to absorb all of the like amazing energy that Hayward has to offer. And so I just tried to stay really calm for as long as possible and make sure that I was getting good sleep and all that good stuff.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. What was it like, the recovery part, getting the proper sleep to prepare yourself for the next round?
I also focused a lot on nutrition. I made sure that I had a protein shake waiting for me, and I tried to drink that as soon as I got back to my bag after my race, making sure that I got, my like proper daily caloric intake and protein and all that good stuff to help myself recover. And then I also made sure that I gave myself time to wind down every night and do things to take my mind off of running. So what I was doing, I was watching the first episode of the House of Dragons came out, and so I watched that to kind of wind down and take my mind off of racing right before bed. And I take a magnesium supplement. It's called Calm. It's like a little powder.
Oh, I've seen that before, like in the tall plastic cylinder.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, and I don't know if you saw it, but last minute I decided to put like a little commentation of the women's final race on my YouTube account. Before the race, I talked about the field, and I was even saying this is the deepest field I've ever seen in 30 plus years of watching women's track and field in the 1500. I did make a prediction, and I picked you actually to win. And
thank you.
You're welcome. And I kind of put in there about a smooth move compared to the 400, which we talked about in the World Championships. And then I actually said to watch out for Nikki Hiltz, because she has an amazing kick in that last 100. So For me, going to you now is, what was it like, that day, if you could walk me through that day, this field is loaded and it's coming down to really anyone in the top 7 or 8 there could have actually made the team. What's going through your mind? And as a competitor, did you have any predictions yourself in your mind? Were you thinking, oh my gosh, this is how the race could go, or this is how I'm thinking? And if you could share that.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely the deepest 1,500 meter field ever. And I knew that going in. One of the stats was there were 4 Olympians and 4 U.S. champs in that race. And I mean, it took a little bit of mental work to not be intimidated by that and to still, stay very strong in my belief that I could still make that team. Because, yeah, just like I was like also maybe like I think like the 3rd youngest in the field or something like that. I was like, these women have more years of experience than me. Like some of them have on their resume being a U.S. champ. That's something I've never done before. I've never been a national champ, even at the collegiate level. So yeah, just trying to like stay strong in my belief in myself and to not let that, get to my head or any of that was definitely tough. But honestly, it's super inspiring and very exciting what we have going right now. I think after that race, there were so many people who finished that race in disbelief of what they had just done. Even the people who didn't make the team could still celebrate because they ran massive PRs and everyone showed up. Everyone came, brought their best on that day. I have a lot of respect for people who also had a really good mindset after, like, how could I be mad? Because I PR'd, like a lot of people who were still like found a lot to be proud of, really inspiring. And it's like super exciting for just US distance running right now is just on a whole nother level. And we just like saw a huge jump. We ran number 2, 3, and 4 all times between Nikki, myself, and Ellie. So yeah, I think that American record is going to go down here sometime soon.
So the race itself, a couple things. There was a moment that I saw just coming up to like 800 meters left in the race, and you were on the outside of lane 1, inside of lane 2 area, and it was almost like you had a moment of like confidence or something. Were you thinking anything at that point?
Well, I think I was just trying to stay calm, but one thing I'm really proud of that I was able to do during this race is to stay positive the entire time. I didn't really have any negative thoughts that entire race. Like, my confidence was unwavering. It took a lot of mental work to get to this point because I've definitely had races before where I felt like a little shaky in my confidence, or I felt like, oh, this is really hard. I don't know if I can do this. I didn't have any of those thoughts. And for that, I'm just really proud of like the mental work that I did before the race to make sure that I was able to keep my composure during it. Yeah, I just felt very confident, and I didn't quite know how fast we were running, but I knew we were running hard, and I was like, I feel okay, I feel good, and I don't feel like I'm going to be falling off anytime soon, and I know that if I'm there the last lap, I know I can kick. So yeah, I was just trying to stay calm and confident for the first few laps of the race.
Yeah, I mean, you went out in 61, so
I can't believe that. I know.
Yeah, when I was watching it, because I was commenting, I didn't even realize how fast you went out, but I knew, you could just tell it was a fast pace.
Yeah.
That was crazy. Do you remember the moment when you realized, like I'm an Olympian, I'm going to the Olympics, and what did that feel like?
I think I noticed that before I even crossed the finish line, and I can kind of see it in my face looking back at the pictures. Like, I'm looking at that starting line like I'm about to become an Olympian. I was just so excited crossing that line. It was like, I don't know, maybe like a couple of seconds right before. I just felt like, it was just a dream come true. I don't know how to put it into words, but it was awesome.
I saw your sister post, some things and stuff, but your family being out there. I didn't know this till after with some of the pictures because I ran for Binghamton as well. And Acuff was there. What was that like, having her out there and like her presence just being there, running for her and Mike Thompson for 4 years? What was that like?
Oh my goodness. It was amazing. Yeah, I was so excited when she told me that she was going to be making the trip out because I just knew that having her there was going to bring me like a huge sense of comfort, having been there with her several times before for national championships. And I just knew that I would have her to lean on, if needed someone to talk to before the race, if I was like the nerves were getting to me or whatever, like I know that she knows what to say to me and she knows me as an athlete. I was super excited that she was going to be there. If I was going to make the team, like I would want her there because she's someone she was a huge part of getting me to that point. She developed me as an athlete, and I wouldn't be the runner that I am today if it weren't for her. And yeah, just the belief that she had in me throughout my collegiate career. And, and she's always just a phone call away. Like I can call her whenever if I'm having like a rough week of training. Yeah, she's just been there for me since I started running at Binghamton, and even these last couple of years, she's helped me have a really smooth transition, and I'm just so thankful for that and thankful for her always.
That's awesome. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love the one picture I saw of her like leaning over and giving you a hug. I was like, oh, Annette was there. So
Yeah.
that's great. And I love what you have to say about her in Binghamton too. So representing New Balance, what role has your partnership and brand played in the training of your performance? Like how have they helped you now in the next level? I know you have an amazing coach there and other women to run with. How has that helped you out and any benefits there?
Yeah, I mean, it's been huge. I think New Balance is an amazing sponsor for so many reasons. They are incredibly supportive and they treat us like people and not just athletes. They've like made custom spikes for people on my team and myself, and I think they also provide so many amazing resources to us. We have like I think one of the best training facilities of any training group here in the US. So we have the indoor track at New Balance, which is just an amazing tool for us, especially in the winter months when the weather's really crappy outside. We just get better quality workout being able to go inside for that. And we have a team area and some training equipment. We have the Alter G and a couple treadmills. And yeah, we have amazing resources, and I'm super thankful because it just definitely makes things a lot easier. And then also having New Balance right here in Boston, their headquarters is like right across the street from the track at New Balance, and then we have a New Balance gym across the street from that. So it's like everything's right there, and it's just super convenient. And yeah.
Oh, that's great. That's
Oh
great.
yeah, and we also have a research lab across the hall from our team room. So if we need to go over there, we can do VO2 max testing, lactate testing. They've done gait analysis for us, and they told me what kind of shoe I train in the best, and they've helped me figure out which type of spike I'm the most efficient in. And so, yeah, we just have so many amazing resources. And I think it's really cool that we have the support of the research team right across the hall as well. Another thing that New Balance does for us is they send people who make our running gear, and they come in and they talk to us, and they collaborate with us. They ask for our feedback, what we like and don't like about a lot of the product that they're sending us. And then they take that into consideration, and they make like the next gear drop we get, we'll say like, oh, they listened, and we have like a drawstring in these shorts now. And so just for them to take our feedback and actually like implement it and to create gear that works best for us is like, it's just amazing.
That is amazing. So first of all, what are your sneakers that you're training in now? And then did anything happen when you did like the running gait analysis and things from your running gait prior to New Balance to now?
I train in the 880s, which is a neutral shoe. I think they call it the workhorse shoe because it's just like the classic standard neutral shoe. And it works great for me. And they helped me figure that out because prior to joining Team New Balance Boston, I was running in a stability shoe. When they analyzed my gait, they told me that I don't actually need to be running in a stability shoe. So that was really good, helpful information. They actually told me I have a really efficient gait, so I haven't had to change anything with that, which has been awesome. That was like my best score was on my gait analysis, and then VO2 max I think was the worst, and then my lactate was like somewhere in the middle.
Well, the good thing is VO2 max, you can get better with training, and gait is something I've always thought that's hard to change. I've always tried to change mine, but that's a harder thing to change, like a faster stride or something.
Right, absolutely. And then it's like when you change your gait, your body has to take time to adjust to that as well. So, because your body gets used to doing the wrong thing. And then, yeah.
I just became aware of this, so I just wanted to talk to you about this. In the Olympics this year, they have something new. I think it's from the 100 up to the 1500, and I hope I'm pronouncing this right, but it's the repechage or repechage. Did you see that?
I did see that, and I don't know how to pronounce it either. Repertoire?
Repechage. Repechage. I think that's what it is.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, but I don't know how to pronounce it.
As I understand it, Tuesday, August 6th, it's round one. Then the day after Wednesday is the repechage round of the people that typically qualify by time. They run a whole nother round. So to me, that could be very impactful because it could give someone that has the automatic to go to the Thursday semifinals an extra rest day in there. So have you thrown any tactics around that or thought about that at all?
I don't know. I'm under the understanding that so if you get knocked out in the first round, so the first round's on the 6th, and then there's going to be big cues you qualify off of place in your heat, and then there's going to be time qualifiers, I think. And then there's going to be, a handful, maybe 10 people who get knocked out who don't qualify for the next round. But those people are going to run the next day in the repechage round to see if they can fight to their way back in to qualify for the semifinal. So I think it's like a second chance. Like if something happens, like someone falls or someone just had food poisoning or just was sick or anything, whatever happens.
More like the 800 this year where
it's just another chance. Exactly.
Like she would have a chance to come back.
Right. Which that was in the final. But I think that if it were in one of the qualifying heats, I think that they would have protested and she still would have qualified for the next round. But because it was in the final, there was nothing that could be done about it.
I think then this would still benefit, like in the first round, I guess. How I understand is that if you get that automatic in the first round, that gives you an extra day rest in between before the semi.
Oh, yes, which is nice. They get a day of rest before the semifinal. Yeah, and it's definitely a disadvantage for the people who get knocked out and then they have to race one whole extra round. That's going to be tough.
It would be a difference of 3 out of 5 days or 4 out of 5 days.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that's tough, but it's also, I think it gives people a chance. Everyone gets to race at least twice.
Homework for both of us before next call. We have to know how to pronounce that correctly.
Yes, and fully understand it as well. I still don't know.
You'll have to understand it more than I will right away. But we'll follow up on that. So now, heading into Paris, talking about that a little bit, undoubtedly this has to be, you can speak to it, but what does it mean to you what is your mindset and how are you preparing going in? Like, I know some people are running like a shorter distance race leading into it. Some are tapering still because, the Olympic trials in the United States are pretty much like such a climax for the United States runners. Like it's the big one. Yeah. So now what's that transition like for you now leading up into Paris?
Yeah. So I had to peak for the trials, which I think honestly all of us did. In the 1500 at least. We're peaking for the trials, and then I took a week off of workouts, and I was just doing easy mileage, trying to get my volume back up. And then this Tuesday, I started back with workouts, and we have a month block of training. So we kind of came down from the trials. I got sick. Lots of people got sick because it's like when your adrenaline, your cortisol, everything's so high, and then you accomplish this big goal, and then you kind of like, you let your guard down. It worked out well that I was able to relax a little bit and just do easy mileage. And then I'm feeling better this week, starting back with workouts. And then next week, we're going to start hitting some harder workouts, have a couple of really key sessions. And then I'm racing in Leuven 1K with my teammate Ellie. And that'll be our race to just kind of sharpen up right before. I think it's about a week out. The 27th. Of July.
Where is it again?
In Leuven.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, well, good luck with that. Hope that goes well for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It'll be good. It's nice because it's a little bit of an off distance, like a 1K. I haven't run very many 1Ks. Time won't really get in my head, We're just going to run as fast as we can and then to sharpen up. And then, if it's like an 800 or a 1500, we're going to have like more specific time goals that if we don't hit, we'll be like, oh, what's going on, and might overthink it. But a 1K is just kind of a fun little rust buster,
Yeah, that's like back in the college days, having like the 600, the 1,000, like those different distances. Mm-hmm. And I agree with you. It's not the mindset of like, all right, now I'm running an 800. And then whatever time it might be, you're overanalyzing it.
Exactly.
So here's one for you. So what would the Emily Mackay of today say to the younger self back in high school or during your college years, knowing that you're representing the United States of America in the Olympics?
Wow. I would say just dream big, because I think that that's something that I didn't really do as much. Even just up to a few years ago, I just didn't know that I would be capable of this, and I didn't really allow myself to dream this big. So I think that maybe if I started dreaming this big a while ago, I would have, poured more into it earlier on. And who knows? But anyways, I just would have told myself, and I guess tell anyone, that's in like high school or middle school or whatever, just starting out, just say dream big and don't put limits on yourself and what you think you could accomplish.
That's great advice. And look at you now. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate for you being on the show again. Like I said, soon we're going to have to talk about that artwork that you have and all that stuff once you
Yeah.
Hey, maybe it'll be in 10 years because you'll just keep running better and better and better and better.
Yeah, thank you for having me on. It's always nice to chat and catch up. And yeah, I could talk about running for hours. So this is so fun.
So can I, and that actually leads me to something. Like I have all these ideas because like this is my hobby right now, but eventually I'd love to turn it into something. And I'm the same way. I could sit and talk about running 24/7.
Yeah.
And like when we go to New York for my sister's race, I'm bringing all my equipment, and we're driving now instead of flying because at Dick's House of Sport on that Thursday night, we're having like a private event for everyone running in the race. And we're going to set up all my stuff, and we're going to be like interviewing people all night.
Wow, that sounds like a party to me.
It is. And that's what's fun about this. It's just talking to people and hearing their stories and following their careers as they go. And that was something really in talking to Molly Huddle. When I did it with her, like I didn't even realize, I mean, she's been running for 20 something years now as a pro.
Wow.
Which is
that's incredible.
Insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk about longevity in the sport. Yeah. That's awesome.
And she was talking about shoes, and she's going to run another marathon, and she was saying how they've helped her like still be competitive, some of the new shoes that are out and everything.
Right.
So.
Yeah. The shoe technology is just insane now. I mean, it's definitely part of the reason that you see all these crazy times, like in the 1500. I mean, all of the events really, but the huge jump that was just made in the 1500 with 3 of us running 3:55, like that blows my mind. And it's not all just the shoe technology, but it definitely has something to do with it.
When I was watching that 1500, it was like, I feel like, you guys didn't have a rabbit or anything. And
no,
I don't know what you feel like
my
this,
teammate Ellie was the rabbit.
I know. But she's so strong like you are.
It's incredible.
That I was like, if you guys had like a rabbit and you were running fresh and didn't have the previous races and everything, I mean, and I know we can't go back and redo that or anything, but I can't imagine. Maybe it wouldn't have been different, or maybe it would have been. But I just think like, because that race they just had in Paris, they had 2 rabbits and everyone was fresh.
Yeah.
What would the field you had was much deeper. Like what could it have been like?
I have no idea. I think we would have run it like a second or 2 faster. I don't know necessarily if we would have run 3:50, but I think Ellie could do that fresh. I mean, she also had 2 5Ks in her legs.
When I ran back, and I ran pretty fast, like sometimes you just have those experiences where it's like an out of body and you're in the field and everything's just right and you can do something like, wow, how'd I do that? Yeah,
those are the special moments, like, right? That's what, yeah.
So when do you head to Paris?
I was going to leave on the 22nd, but I don't think that the Athlete Village is available until the 25th. So I might fly on the 24th, red eye, get in the 25th. Then there's the opening ceremony on the 26th, and then that race in Leuven is on the 27th. So.
And you can get a direct right to Paris from Boston, right?
I think so, yeah, which is amazing. That's huge. It's like just as easy as going to the West Coast. It's like a 6-hour flight. Yeah. So it's like, that's easy.
So is your family headed over?
Yes, I have like 20 people coming to watch.
That's great.
Yeah, I'm super excited about it. My family bought their tickets before I even qualified. Not all of them, but I'm like, you guys, I'm glad they didn't tell me though, because that would have made me a little bit nervous.
I went to the French Riviera last year, and my girlfriend used to work in Paris. So she wanted to take me there, and we were going to go this year. And then the Olympics, I'm like, oh my God, they're the same like as my sister's race. I can't miss my sister's race. But I was like, let's go to Paris for the Olympics. Then we saw the dates. And we're like, it would have been so neat to go to Paris and the Olympics and everything all in one.
Yeah.
So,
I've never been, so I'm excited.
I've only been to the French Riviera, which is beautiful, but I heard Paris is just amazing. So, well, safe travels. Enjoy.
Thank you.